Well, hello there again, friends. We meet again. I feel like I've done this quite a bit recently. We had the storm, of course, on Sunday. All snow, pure snow, powder, fluff, kind of a relatively easy storm to manage, even though there was well over a foot of snow from it in parts of the state. This next storm won't be anything like that one. While there will be snow with it, it's going to transition pretty quickly, by the way, along the coastline to rain. Inland areas, that transition time will take longer, and therefore there will be more snow on the front end of this, but even there, it's going to go over to rain, and it's going to turn into a sloppy mess tomorrow morning. I first want to show you the air mass that we are in right now. Check out these temperatures across the state. A lot are in the single digits, and it was interesting, and when I got in here this morning, which was at about 3:10 or so this morning, yeah, I got an early alarm clock, folks. It was coldest in southern Maine, and I don't typically see that often. Usually you see it coldest up in the mountains or in northern Maine. But it's all because of that fresh powder that we got. You know, it was a southern Maine snowstorm, southern Maine powder, and powder is like a refrigerant on nights like blast, or, you know, kind of like a freezer. What happens is, the fact that it was very fluffy, there's a lot of air in between each snowflake, and that air gets extra cold and adds cold to the air above the snow where the thermometers are. And that's why southern Maine temperatures were colder. So we had ideal radiational cooling, and we had fresh powder out there, which is the recipe for extra cold temperatures. So we've got cold in place, which means when this thing arrives, it's going to start off as snow just about everywhere. The problem is, unlike the last storm, that the center of the low went out south of Cape Cod and the islands, this one's going to our west. And we're just gonna punch and punch and punch and chip and chip and chip away at that cold air. And we'll get rid of it real quickly along the coastline. It's gonna take longer inland though, I think so. And there might even be a little bit of freezing rain when we do transition from snow to rain over some of those interior locations. All right, let's show you a timeline here of how this is going to kind of play out. So today we're just looking at clouds increasing, not a big deal. This is 5 o'clock. Your commute home is super, super smooth. But just after you get home, I mean, some of you might be shutting the door to your house if you live down on the New Hampshire border. We're going to see this snow moving in. And it's going to thump real quickly, you know, for like an hour or two. So we'll pick up some minor accumulation along the coast. But by like 9, 10 o'clock, it's already over to rain, and it'll be all rain by midnight from Portland all the way down through York County. Notice inland, though, it's around 32 or 33 degrees, and this is going to be heavy precip. So it's going to be wet, it's going to be pasty, it's going to be clingy snow, unlike the stuff we had over the weekend, which will add some weight to limbs and, you know, could complicate things a little bit over the interior because of that when we start to get into some wind, but I'm not expecting the big wind gusts over the interior this time. It's just focused on the coast and the higher elevations. Let's see, I want to get to my next graphic here. Give me a moment to achieve that, which is this guy right here, yeah. So we pick up the story at midnight, there it is. By tomorrow morning, daybreak, I mean, it's all rain just about everywhere, except the mountains and the far north. But Bangor's rain, Waterville, Augusta, Lewiston, rain, coastline rain, and it's heavy rain too. And it's going to be coming at you sideways, so it's windswept, heavy rain. So there's so many things and facets of this storm to focus on. First, the snow. Let's get you the snow map and just take care of that right away, because that's the first part of the storm, you know, before the transition. Less than an inch south of Portland, 1 to 3 up the coast. You know, Lewiston, Augusta, Bangor, you're in a 3 to 6. I tend to think it's going to be closer to the 3 in Lewiston, maybe right in the middle in Augusta, and maybe 4.5 to 5 in Bangor, or closer to the 6 in Bangor. North and west, though, is where you got to go to get the big totals. With that said, these type of totals will probably lead to some delays and cancellations in the schools because it's coming in the middle of the night. So to get the roads and sidewalks ready, even though the transition to rain will have happened, you know, that's a pretty big task. That's a tall task. So there probably will be delays and cancellations just from the snow. And then we've got to think about the wind and power outages, and that could happen especially along the coastline. So there could be delays and cancellations there. But again, there is the snow map. Let's see. Then notice all the heavy snow in the mountains. So the majority of the precip in the mountains is going to be snow. That's actually a godsend because of a lot of things. First of all, the ski industry and the snowmobile industry really need it and really want it. Nordic skiing, all that kind of thing. I got to keep checking the time because we're kind of up on a cut-in. But there are no flood advisories up in the mountains. The flood advisories this time are along the coastline, the south coast, especially where we got that heavy snow over the weekend. Because we're going to get about 2 inches of rain, and then we're going to get a little bit of snow from this storm, but all of the snow from the last storm is going to be melting as we warm up and we start to get into rain. So this is going to be a sloppy, slushy, disgusting mess tomorrow morning. It really is. I suggest if you get an opportunity or chance, go out and clear some of your neighborhood storm drains. It will make a big difference in your neighborhood if you can do that. It'll take 10 minutes to go clean the one that's out, in front of your house or, down the block a little bit. But it will allow for all of the melting snow and all of that rain that's going to come down in a short period of time to get into those drains instead of just hanging out on the road and creating that sloppy, slushy, disgusting mess. So that's the rain part of it. Also, the wind part of it. Now, there is going to be strong wind, and it's going to peak tomorrow morning, right around daybreak again, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. And there will be some gusts to 60, maybe even a little higher on the down east coastline. It's a bad wind direction out of the southeast. So we are going to get power outages. I don't see it being as bad as what we had back prior to Christmas. But, with that said, if you get a power outage, you don't care how many there were back around Christmas because you're getting one again, kind of thing. Also, the peaks and the higher elevations will get some big wind gusts too. I think in between, in Lewiston, Augusta, Bangor, it's not going to be as windy as that storm before Christmas. We're going to have more of a protective cold layer at the surface. We call those inversions. It's like a force field, and it sort of prevents those big wind gusts from aloft getting to the surface. That won't be the case along the coast. We're going to be warm. There's nothing to stop it from coming in off of the water, so we're going to be under the gun there. The wind, it's a quick hitter also, though. The winds will settle down by midday, and in the afternoon, it's going to be breezy, but way better. Got 1 minute. The last thing I wanted to mention, I want to show you the end time for, where are you? I think it's right here. Yeah, so I mentioned, so it's going to be, disgusting for the morning commute, but look at this. 8 o'clock, the rain is over in Portland and Lewiston. It's tapering off in Augusta, still pouring in Bangor, but we're already going to start recovering down here. And then by midday, same thing will be happening in Bangor, recovering. The afternoon's partly sunny. So it's like a 6-hour awful window here tomorrow morning, and then it's much, much better. We'll keep giving you updates on this throughout the day. Got to put my IFB in because Hannah's over there at the desk. Show her. She's doing the cut-in, she's starting it, and she's about to toss it to me, which means I gotta hit play here. And jump on the TV side. So I'll see you again later. I'll probably give you an update tomorrow morning. And someone else, maybe it's Keith or Dana, will give you another update later today. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.